Yeah. Oh, Baruch haba. How are you, Rabbi Avi? Good to see you. You closed up. I think you closed up the Catskills.
No other Jews in the Catskills.
Right, you closed out the last. I mean, Mosenswag, the last Jew standing.
Brian Labor Day picnic is special meeting today. Upstairs.
They really don't like us there.
Okay, let's go.
They live also.
Tan Rabbanan.
They love us, but they don't like us.
I in Hayom Beis. 3 lines down, we get white, and we're in the sugya of kashering kalim. Tan Rabbanan. Halokeach kli tashmish minoiv de kichavim. Someone goes ahead and he buys a kli that's used from a guy. The vorim shon nishtamish behen, things that they didn't use with for any hot types of things were brand new. Matbilin, you have to go ahead and be toivel. We saw yesterday 2 sources for taher or meinida. The hein taher and the taher, and you could use them. The vorim shon nishtamish behem ayidei tzainin. Something that they use through a venue of cold, kigon kosos, uketonios, utzlichos, like different of cups and bowls. Matichim, it's enough to do hadacha. That's level 1. Umatbilan, you still do. The hem tahirim. Varman ishtamish ben ayidei chamim, kigon ayoyrois v'hakum kumkasin. The pots, that you cook in, or kumkum is hot water. Umach mechamim magilin. You do hagala, umatbilin behin tahirim. The varnish and ishtamish b'mal yedei or that directly in the fire, something that you mishtamish directly in the fire. Kigoyin hashapudim are spits, askalois are griddles, not a griddle. Malbin, you go ahead and you do libud. You go ahead and umatbilin behin tahirim. So again, the rule of thumb is kibolo kafpolto, as they take in. Right, as they take in, that's the way you go in and you give out. And let's say you didn't do it, and let's say you used it. Let's say you didn't use it, and you didn't do one of these things, and you used it. That the food is asa, and the other one is mutter. Okay, so that's the machlokes. Now, what would be the machlokes? What?
Means if you got it from the grave for.
Okay, so hang in there. And loy kasha, right? It's loy kasha. Hakiman yam and noisin tam lefgam is asa, right? Hakiman yam and noisin tam lefgam is mutter. Earlier in the Masechta we had a machlokes in the sugya of noisin tam lefgam. That when something comes out of the wall of a kli, right? If it's been in there for 24 me'es la'es, right? It comes out with a negative taste. If noisin tam lefgam, a blemished taste literally, then what it's going to be mutter. It's going to be mutter. Noisin tam l'shvach is according to everybody. Now, Rabbi was of the opinion noisin tam l'fgam is asa. So the Baisa that says over here that the food is asa would be speaking what? Right? Would be speaking like the Rabbi says noisin tam l'fgam is asa, and the one that says mutter is noisin because according to the Shittas of Shimon, and the other that noisin tam l'fgam is mutter. Is this what you want to say, Yanko?
Yeah, I know that, Pop. I'm just could basically that means if I got it from the guy 2 days ago, if I got it from the guy today, so I have to assume that it was used.
No, again, that's the assumption is not used. The assumption is not used. Most stuff is not used. But again, what about a new kli? We began with a new kli. Was this going back on everything? So if you look at the bottom places, in other words, we listed over here like 4 different things. We listed over here. Wasn't used at all. It was used cold. It was used like on heated up and used in a fire. And you're telling me now, Tani Chod and Mutter Asa, and it's nice and Tam Lefkan. Look, it can't be going back on case number 1 where you never used it at all, where it's a brand new kli and you just do tefillah, correct? So look at the bottom place. It's a kulin shenishtam behem leman de Tani Mutter nakat shapir ashla yatful. According to Mandi Omar, who says that it's mutter until you do tefillah. Aval leman de Tani Asa. Ain't lesser in mishtamish b'koidim tefillah, right? But according to Mandiyama, that says that it's asa. We can't say it's asa if you're mishtamish before tefillah. Miu ikol name it degazu at the koidim hagala v'libun. In other words, so we're saying all of these things that if you mishtamish, but he's not answering that question. He's not asking that question. Avamanda, Amanda Tani Asa ein lesser in Mishnamish Bakoidim Tefillah. In other words, if you say, how can you say it's Asa before there's another action to do? You have to be toivel it. So he's saying that maybe the guys, the gazu at the koidim hagalav alibun. If you're gonna, in other words, what would the din be if it in the case where it's brand new? The case where it's brand new, right? And you used it before tefillah. You buy something, you're not toivel it, you use it. Is it asa? So that's what Taisus is addressing. He's saying, "Leman detani muta naket shapet actually yitbo until you toivel. Avaman detani asar ain lesser in the shtamish b'kodim tefillah. You have to learn that what it's not going to be asar before tefillah. He's going to say not. However, there's another opinion. If we let you go ahead and use it before tefillah, you may have to go ahead and use it before liban or hagala or so it. In other words, this is going on right. There's no common here. This is going to clear that was never used before. So if it was never used before, obviously you don't need anything. So Frek Tais is a kasha. Like that Mandi Omar, right? Is it this usher? Is it going back on that or not? So like the Mandi Omar mutter, it's okay. Like the because even if you used it with tefillah, it would be okay. But like the Mandi Omar, that's usher. Would it be like going ahead and using it before you kasha the kli? Let's say you had a kli with that you needed to do liban on, or kli that you had to go ahead. So clearly, if you don't go ahead and do that, it's going to be asa. So by something that was never used, the only thing you could do what is taivel. So like, what would the svara be, guys? What would the svara be? It was never used before. What would the svara be? So you're saying either it's muta, either it's takamuta, or you're going to say that we're going to make a gzeira. If we let you, in other words, a new kli tefillah using the old SAT adage is like hot water to hagala, right? So in other words, according to that, if you should be, it's asa. But why would it be asa? There's no tam coming out of it. And the answer is, will we be geyser if we let you go ahead and use a kli that only requires tefillah? If we let you use it, you might come to use a kli that what requires something a little more. Okay. So why would you ever have to go ahead and kasher any kli?
Right. Wait.
If noisin tam lefagam is mutta, right? So why would you have to kasher any kli? So Rav Chia, if it sounds familiar, we did this before. Rav Chia bereid Rav Huna lo yasra Torah el kedera bas yoima. The lav noisin tam lefagam hu. Right, the kedera bas yoima, that's not like noisin tam lefagam. Okay, become be'elech lishteri, right? So after a day you should matter it. And so why do you have to do hagala, guys? If you know, let's say, guys, you buy a kli, Yankel's case, you know for sure the guy used it. Wait a day. And why you do hagala? You waited a day already. It's nice and time of kam. So why are you doing hagala? Fact the Gemara kasha. So Gezeira says the Gemara. Mikam the elech lishteri, and the Gemara Gezeira kedera sheina bas yema mishum kedera bas yema. The idach, the one that says it's asa, right? Kedera bas yema nami mifkam pagmal. Even the kedera bas yema, even there's a little pakam coming out, and nonetheless, what it's requires tefillah, it requires kashrus, hechsha, and memeli you see that what the nice time of gam is asa. Now, exactly what a bas yema is very fascinating. We pass in 24 hours, but if you look at Taisus, guys, just for a second, and we won't do the whole Taisus. Bas yoim pirish b'kuntris shebishel bo ovid kechavim hayoim avon bishel bo etmol kvar hufkib kaima bolinas laila. Overnight. Bas yoim overnight. And Rashi, guys, look at Rashi. Bas yomo Rashi, top Rashi. Shebishel bo ovid kechavim hayoim avon bishel bo etmol kvar hufkib es kaima bolinas laila. Same thing. So that's Taisus' opinion. However, if you go down in Taisus, if you go,
that's a set. I'm going to just like
okay. I'll say the question is whether it's the Sefer Laila or the beginning of Laila. That seems to be a machlokes. Okay, but that's the rate. But again, Linus Laila, it's not a ben yomo anymore. It's not a ben yomo anymore. If you look at Tosfos, about At the end of Tosfos, go about a quarter of the way up. It says Varav Baruch. Side still. Varav Baruch Kasav b'Sefer Hatruma shetzarich lachkar shlehoya b'kli afilu mayim chamim levad. If the guy used it, there couldn't even been hot water in there. Mitoich me'es la'es. The mayim chashivi kamaya issa. In other words, the problem is, guys, if you cook the hot water, what happens is the water is going to become the veil and go back in the pot. But what does he say? Me'es la'es. He says me'es la'es. So again, you see in Tosfos, there's an opinion about it can even be like overnight, like you know. Okay, anyway, the tremendous heta for us. Forget about Ivy Kechav. Most of the shilas of Issa Veheta that you had that come up in the kitchen, if milchix fleishix, your wife used a fleishix, a fork, and the milchix invite them. Most of the times it's not a ben yomu, you know, it's not a problem, you know. Okay, anyway. Back in the Rami le Rav Amram le Rav Sheshes. Rav Amram asked the kasha to Rav Sheshes. Now, why did we say, guys? A shmudim ba'askala, griddles and spits require libun, right? They both require their libun. Okay, so they asked Rav Sheshes. Tanan, hashepudim ba'askala, melabnim ba'ar. That's what our Mishnah says. That you go ahead and you do libun. Iva tanan a Mishnah zvachim gabe kachim by kachim hashpud ba'askala magilin bechamim. All you have to do is hagala. No libun. So by Kachim again, by Kachim it says you have to do Hagala, and by us in Masechta by the Zorah it says you need libum. So we're gonna have five terutzim. What? So you got a problem. But so what's Hagala? I mean, why is Hagala helpful? So Amalei Amram Bari, Amalei Amram Bari. So Rav Sheshes said to him, Amram, my son, Ma inyin Kachim etzel giulei avdikechavim. What are you comparing? Kachim that's being absorbed to what? To Guli Avikachavim. Hacha Heterabala. Over here in Kachim, it was by Leah Heter. Hasam Isurabala. Over there by Avikachavim, it's a treif, it was Chaza, it was Nevela, whatever it was. So there's a big difference. Where it's by Leah Isur, you need Libun. Where it's by Leah Heter, it's enough what? Hagala. Amarava, saif, kipolit, isura kapolit. Guys, why are you kashering it anyway? Guys, why are you doing Hagala anyway? You're using it, right? Why are you doing Hagala? You can do Hagala when you comes Pesach, you want a Kli, you do Hagala, right? If you want to keep a Kli for Pesach. You ever notice all the halachas of Hagala are Pesach? Because in the old days, they couldn't afford to have separate pots. We have Baruch Hashem, the people that don't go away, my generation. Right, so old generation. You have these pots that you never use. You use one or two of them, but you have so many of them, and they're all put away in such a hard place, and you have to go and climb and get them, and it's not for old people. Okay, I just got it off my chest. Anyway, so the Hagala, it's again. So l'chayra, why are you doing Hagala? This is kosher. You're using it again and again, right? So now. Why are you doing Hagala? Is because if you had a belia of a chatas overnight becomes nicer. Nice is a lot worse than pig, guys. Right. Pig is malchus. Nice is a chi of chorus. So Fred Rava, what kind of teretz are you giving, Rav Sheshes? Says Rava. Then what kind of teretz are you giving? Good, it went in good. We don't care about how it went in. We care about how it comes out. It's coming out as chorus. You're telling me Hagala is enough? It's Gavalga Kasha. Could have went in Kosher V'Yasha, but it's coming out Erga V'Chasha Treif. Worse than that. So it says, El Omar Rava gives his own teretz. My Hagala Nami is Shtifa Umarika. Now, it said there's a special halacha by Kochim that a Shtifa Umarika, where it's a process of purging. Says Rava, the Mishnah in Kachim, when it says Hagala, it doesn't mean only Hagala. You know what it means? It means in addition to Libun, you need Hagala, and we're calling Hagala Shtifa Umarika. So by us, which is not Kachim, it doesn't have the special halacha of Shtifa Umarika. It's enough to do what? Libun. There in Kachim, in addition to Libun, you need Shtifa Umarika, and Shtifa Umarika they're calling Hagala. Good. Frag the Gemara, Amalei Abaya, me dummy, Muriku Shtifu Bitsoinin, Hagala Bechamim. You Rava are calling Shtifu Murika, you're calling that Hagala. Hagala is what? Is in boiling water. That is what? That is cold. So, in other words, I hear what you're saying that you need both, and it's a chumrah, and it would answer the stira, but it doesn't make any sense explaining the Mishnah in Zvachim when you're calling Shtifu Marika, which is cold, you're calling it Hagala. So therefore, I'm not buying the teretz. Elo Amar Abaya. Abaya says his own pshat. Yagad love reyai. Let its friend speak about it. Meaning, here in Masechta Avodah Zorah, you're telling me one din, and its friend in Zvachim are going to tell us an additional din. Meaning, you need both. You need both. By kachim, you need both. You need, not only do you need libun, you need hagala. So that's what it's telling me. There it's telling me you need hagala, and Yagad Lavloi Reya, and here the Mishnah in Zvachim is telling us what, in Avodah Zorah is telling us what. Okay. You hear the teretz, guys. So again, what's the kasha? You have a stira. Our Mishnah says libun. The Mishnah there says hagala. Says Abaya. It says Abaya. By regular avodah zarah like us, all you need is libun. But Yagdalei Reya, that in addition to libun, by kachim you need hagala. Okay, now this is not exactly Yagdalei Reya. You know what Yagdalei Reya is? Is where you hear two dinim in one place, and then you hear one din in the other place, and the two din in one place tells me about the other place. Over here, it's only one side. It's very one-sided over here. Zvachim is not telling me anything in Mishnah, in the Mishnah over here. Yaglav Reya means that is telling me something over there, but I don't, over here, it's a kind of funny thing. You're telling me, by Avodah Zarah, Libun's enough. Oh, but Yaglav Reya, Libun is, and you need Hagala in addition. That's not the way it works. Pregnant Rabbi to Abai. So Rabbi has to come back. Abai's comeback to Rabbi was, it went in good, it came out bad, so what's your teretz? No, that wasn't said. Shtifum Rika, right? That was Rav's Tana of Sheshes. His Tana was Shtifum Rika's cold. So now, Elo Amar Abaya, Yagalav Reya. Tana Hacha Libun, Vuhu Adin Lagala. Tana Hasam Hagala, Vuhu Adin Libun. Amalei Rava, Ihachi, if it's Yagalav Reya, Lisninu Lakula Bechada. You should learn both dinim by one. Velisni Chada Beidach, Achrita, and learn one by the other. V'lein Yagalav Reya, and then say Yagalav Reya. In other words, list Liban by both, and then Hagala by one, and say it applies to the other. El Amar Rava, another El Rava again. We're still trying to figure out the stira. Kachim Hainu Tamayu. Why by Kachim is Hagala and not Libun? Kid Rav Nachman Amar Rabba Ravua. Dama Kol Yoim B'Yoim Nasa Gil L'Chaveira. Hagala is a constant, meaning I'm purging something. If you're using it all the time, then it's constantly being purged. So the reason why I don't need libun is because kachim they used it all the time. They cooked it all the time. Since they cooked it all the time, right, you didn't have a problem because it's always coming out. Now here's the problem. The problem is if you use it as a chatas, bishlema, if you use it as a shlamim, you have 2 days and a night. So you can keep on using it, and you don't have to worry about coming nicer. By chatos, let's say you use chatos on Sunday, and now you want to cook it on Monday. It's too late because Sunday morning it's nicer. It's Sunday morning it's nicer. Shlamim you have another day. So in other words, I hear what you're saying in terms of practicality to make a chilik between avodah zarah, which is not used all the time, and therefore you would need a stronger measurement to get it out, such as libun. Where it's not used, where it's used all the time, it's constantly coming out, so it doesn't get a chance to settle. The problem is, even if it's used all the time, you still have a problem of nicer coming out. That's the Gemara's kasha. Heinach shlamim. Your teretz rava works good by what? According to Rav Nachman Amarabba Baravua, by shlamim. The kivin l'shnei yamim misachle, right? Since it can be eaten for 2 days, mikami didn't have a nicer before it has a chance to come nicer. Kahavi gil. Whatever's in there is going to come out. Elachatas, kivin de liyoim v'layla misachla. It's only eaten for a day and a night. Ki mevashla bocha idna chatas havi noiser. Ki hadem mevashla bolamacha oishlam chatas kapalit noiser the chatas. right? Ha'idna b'chatas shlamim d'lamach army. Okay, so it's a lot of words, but basically you got the gist. This is Mali Tzricha, the Chime Vashal Bachatas Idna. When the chatas that day that they cooked the chatas, Hadam Vashal Be'idna Shlamim. The chatas the Lamacha Ushlamim the Etmel Ba'adadi Kashalim Zmanai. The Hadam Vashal Shlamim the Lamacha. So in other words, I make sure to go ahead and use it before it has a chance to become nicer. So that's his teretz. Fred the Gemara, if you tell me you're constantly using it, Yihachi Hagola Nami Loli Boy. Then why you don't need Hagola at all? Why do you need Hagola? Kasha, that's a kasha. Okay, so what do we have? We have Rav Shesh's teretz. What was Rav Shesh's teretz? Right, that they told Amram. It goes in Beheter, and therefore it's different than Avodah Zorah that went in, but Tarfus went in. Okay, we had the attempted teretz of what of a Rav's first attempt to say in addition to libun, you needed shtifu marika. That's just calling Hagola. We had a bias kasha l'chayr that's cold. We had a bias teretz yagad l'reyoy. Says the word that's not yet where yagad l'reyoy works. So we have Rav's teretz now that you're going to constantly use it, right? And since you constantly use it, before it becomes nicer, it's not a problem. We have a kasha. Then why do you need Hagola? Rav Papa throws his name into the ring. Rav Papa Amar hay garid v'hay loy garid. By Avodah Zorah, you're not going to use it all the time. You have kalim, you look at kalim in your house, you don't use them all the time. You have certain kalim you use often, but some you don't use. So therefore, it's going to be guard, it's going to be hardened in there, it's going to be tough to get out. You need libun. Mashenke kachim, which is used all the time, right? Kachim used all the time, it's going to come out easier. So in other words, I have no idea what they do with the kasha of kibolo kaf polto. If the svar is kibolo as it goes in al yadei the fire, it comes out of the fire, how does this work? You're telling me, since it's used all the time, then it's enough Hagola. That's not Kabbalah Kapolta. It's my own kasha. It's not Kabbalah Kapolta. It goes in through the venue of fire. You telling me it comes out with what Hagola? It's used all the time.
It's loose because
So it's but it's not again Kabbalah Kapolta this is not Kabbalah Kapolta. Okay, anyway, but this is his teretz. Ravashi Amar, Ravashi restores Rav Shesh's teretz, guys. What was Rav Shesh's teretz? What was Rav Shesh's teretz? Rav Shesh's teretz was that it went in good. Mashen came chazar treif went in as chazar treif. So Rashi Amalo Oilam Kida Amar Meikara. Hacha Teira Bala by Kachim it was by Leia Heter. Hacha Bisura Bala there was Bala Isura. With the Kashlach the Beidna the Kapala Isura Kapala when it comes out it's coming out loud as nicer. Beidna the Kapala Le Isili Sura Be'ena. We know there's a sugi of tam ki ikar. There's a difference by the having the ikar thing and the tam. When it goes in, it's going in as a mamish. But when it comes out, it's only coming out as tam, right? Since it comes out only as tam, even though it's tam of isser, nonetheless, hagol is enough. If it was be'en, it was be'en, it'd be a bigger problem. It seems to be that since it's not be'en, the hagol is enough. Okay, that's what Rav Papa wants to tie now. Let's see Rashi on the last teretz. 5 lines up. The Hainu Mishum the Vikocha Metera Bola. With the Kashlach Yad a Kasha Ki Polit Isura Polit. When it comes out, when it expunges Isur. Like Chama Isura. It's not so Chama. This is not so Chama. You know why? When it became nicer when it was absorbed in the walls. Should be Toich Daifne Akli. Haya Balua. It wasn't recognizable, the Issa. Rashi says a Chiddush that there's a difference between when the Issa is recognizable and when it's not. So it went in Beheter, it comes out Issa. What's coming out, we never recognize as Issa simply because what? It became nicer inside the Kli. As opposed to treif went in and you recognize when it went in, it was mamish treif. Okay, but Kama Malbanin, what's libun until what? We say that until it gets red hot, right? We say until it gets red hot, and which is basically what they're saying over here. I'm of money, achetosha klipason. Till its klipa, its outer skin comes off. I guess when something becomes burning red hot, that means you know that the outer coating is off. The case in Magil, and how you do Hagala, on Rav Huna, Yari Kitana b'tach Yari Gedola. We go ahead, we take a small kli and put it in a big kli. Yari Gedola Mai. What about a big kli? Guys, how do you kasher a big kli? How do you kasher a big kli? So, Toshma, the Hududa, there was this pot, the Havi Bei Rav Ukva, that was in the house of Rav Ukva. Chodole, he surrounded it, Gadafna the walls, the Lisa Apuma, he surrounded with Lisha with dough on the top, Umal Yamayim, and he boiled up water, but Arsacha, and the water went ahead, and since he had a wall that was higher, so it spritzed on top of what? On top of the lid. It spritzed on top of the lid. So I'm a Rava, man chacham never ki hamilsa. Who's the chacham that could do like this? Ilav Rava Kavya, or Rukya, the Gavra Rabahu, Kasavar, Kiboila Kach Poltai. How does the lip, guys? How does the lip get in? Ima boiler bin mitzaitis. It does. It gets mitzaitis. It gets like the speck. I'm making up a word. The spickles. Splatter. What? It's Kenny. Not the sprecklach nothing, right? It gets the sprecklach. It goes like it goes. Like it sprinkles along. The heat comes up there. So too, just it comes up that way. So af polta bin mitzaitis. So too it comes out that way.
What's the case? Can you think of a big kale and cement it into the ground to make it into a car to get rid of its stomach? Get rid of it? Make it into.
What is this in the world coming up in here?
No, instead of cashing it, you make it into a car.
What?
That nullifies.
How does it nullify it?
It
You
becomes
buried it.
like a kira. There's ways to you cement the bottoms of it.
Yeah, but that's leaning tumma. This isn't kashrus. This is not tumma. This is leaning blias vissa. That's leaning kashrus. That's something that's collected as namakabel tumma. I mean,
Why is this case different than yesterday? Yesterday you had that big pot yesterday, right? There was a case yesterday, right?
And-
then the big
this pot again. When you do a hagola, how do you do a gola in a big pot?
You didn't have to do a goal. It was a case yesterday. You didn't have to do a goal. You poured it. That was like what was the case yesterday? I forgot the case yesterday.
So you'll find it. You'll find it, and we'll be good. Okay, now
I'm not going to stand by it.
I'm gonna look at Barchama. So we said a sakin shifa b'hayatayra. You scrape it and it's tahar. I'm gonna look at Barchama. V'noyitza asar upon bekarka. You stick it 10 times in the ground. Now, guys, be aware. There's a big amaratza. Some people think that's kashrus. You stick it 10. That's not kashrus. It's only for certain situations. And here's the situations. Amrav Huna B'rei the Rabbi Yeshua ubekarka shena avodah. It has to be karka that was never used before. Karka like a nachalesim, like a egla lufa. Has to be like never before, so it's very tight. Amrav Kana ubesakin yafa shem bagumais. It can't have any holes in it. And Tanya Namihachi sakin yafa shem bagumais. Lo yitza asar upon bekarka. And Amrav Huna Rabbi Yeshua lecho batzoyin. You can only use this to cut something cold. You can't a davacharif you couldn't use it for, or something hot you couldn't use it for. So it's not a great way of kashering. It's to get off the shamnunis. It's to get off if you have on some type of film on it, you can get it off that way. Yes, Yehuda.
Gumis means
Doesn't mean serrated. It could be serrated.
That's
This means holes. Gumis means hole. B'l'chayik means serrated too.
to include serrated.
What?
To include serrated.
I don't know. Again, you're not going to use this. I'm saying this is. I don't know if gumos means holes in the knives. I'm not sure it means serrated. It could mean serrated. That could be considered a hole. If it is, that means you don't have this option. You can have this option. And it's only to use for cold. We're going to finish with a story, and then I'm going to share with you something fascinating that I heard from Sully Bornstein. Fascinating. Shava Malka was the king of Persia, and Huda and a person named Bati Bartuvi, they were sitting there. Aisle Kamayo Esroiga, they bought to eat a citron and esrik. Pasak, Shava Malka cut it, and Achal and he ate. Pasak, he cut it. V'havle lebati Bartuvi, and he passed it to Bati Bartuvi. Hada Dotza Asara Zimni Ba'ara, he then proceeded Shava Malka to go ahead and in the ground, stick it in the ground 10 times. Pasak, he then cut the esrig, and Havle Lamar Yehuda, he gave to my Yehuda. Amalei Bati Bartuve, who Gavra Lav by Yisrael, who I'm chopped liver. To me, to him, Yehuda, you're stuck in the ground. You not. So Amalei, Shava Malka told him, Mar Kimle Begave, Ich kenem. I know you, Reb Yehuda, but Mar like Kimle Begave, I don't know you. So I didn't know you were such a frumma. Listen to this, Ikadi Amri, listen to this, guys. Ikadi Amri, Amalei, Atker Mai Avda Be'urta. I remember what you did last night. Rashi, guys. My Ovid Be'orta, Derech Parsayim is the way of the Persians, Limser Noshim Lachsanoyim. You'd have a guest, they'd send women. Ukishashigra Lehem Belayla, Shavar. And last night when I sent it, Kibel Bati Hebes Makabelit, Rav Yehuda like Kibel. So I figured if you're going to accept the woman, so I figured I don't have to stick the knife in the ground. Okay, it's a shadow whether he's a yid or not. Toisus, it seems to say he might have been an Evet Kanani, didn't have a tefillah. But there's Sruli Bornstein quoted from Reuben Margolis. Guys, we're familiar with Reuben Margolis from the Margolia Shel Yom that we did in Masechta Sanhedrin. He wrote other svarim also. He was a Bucky Nifla, and he had a certain way of thinking, and he answered certain questions that arise. He answered a certain way. So this Rashi says that it was the ways of the Persians to go ahead and go ahead and that was their way. So Reuven Margolis wanted to use this Rashi to answer up a really, really, really shver Gemara. Okay, we had this Gemara a long time ago. The Gemara is in Yuma, Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis. So the Gemara says, Rav ki mikla lidarshis. When Rav would come to Darshish, Machriz, he would call out, Man have liyuma. Who could be my wife for a day? You remember this? It's such a mud Gemara, you might remember it. Who could be my wife for a day? Rav Nachman kadmalka l'chishat netziv. When he came to the I can't even pronounce it. I have an art scroll here, so he'll help me. Rav Nachman, when he would come to l'shich chansiv, he might be who will be my for a day. I was like, it's a crazy one. Like, for one day you need a wife. One day to be like the shmira, you need a wife for one day. So listen to this. Listen to this unbelievable. This unbelievable Muragolis. He brings some pirka the Rav Nosson that the town of Darshish and Shechansiv was in Persia. So he knew, Rav Nachman knew, if they come to the town, what are they going to do? They're going to give the women. So what did they do? Who's going to be my wife in this town? I want to go ahead and make sure that they don't offer me this offer. It's such a pella dika. That's a classic Iluyish kind of Rav Reuven Margolis, and definitely going to make the blog. I'm telling you, how he located it. These towns are in Persia. Don't ask me. These towns were in Persia, and the Neiluat, he's using this Rashi to fashtaish Rav's actions and Rav Nachman's actions. Hajjalach Hasech as a poil. Hajjalach Hasech a poil. V'siklam Masechta Avodah Zorah. Bez Hashem, we're going to have a siyum. We're going to make a siyum in less than 2 weeks. Bez Hashem on Huriyas, and then we'll have a siyum, a gala siyum on Seder Nezikin.